Hey friends, Gary here. Ultra-wide angle lens is one of the most common lenses that both photographers and filmmakers use frequently. It is useful for including many things in the frame and also to create that classic white composition that you've seen a lot on so many different kinds of photography genres. For photography, ultra-wide angle lens is useful for things such as landscape photography, scenery photography, and sometimes even for environmental portrait. However, finding an ultra-wide angle lens, especially ones with large aperture on any camera format, has been difficult, especially finding one with a reasonable price. This large aperture ultra-wide angle lens is currently increasing in demand because people want to combine the benefits of ultra-wide focal length together with that large aperture to create that unique kind of background blur effect with ultra-wide focal length, and also to use an ultra-wide angle lens in a lower light situation, for example astrophotography. Today I have the Viltrox 13mm f1.4 lens for Sony E-mount cameras, an ultra-wide angle lens with a unique large aperture of f1.4 and also a very attractive budget-friendly price. Is this lens what we are looking for? Or is it too good to be true? Does it cut too many corners? Let's find out in today's video. Just a quick note, this video is not sponsored by anyone. I bought the Viltrox 13mm lens with my own money. Nobody's asking me to make this video. All of the opinions that I will share in this video are my own. Now let's begin by talking about why I bought this lens. So originally I bought this lens specifically for video. So I just bought the Sony ZV-E10. I wanna improve the video quality of my YouTube videos, and I thought to myself, well, I need a proper ultra-wide angle lens for my Sony ZV-E10 if I wanna improve my video production, and that's why I bought this guy specifically for video, especially A-roll talking head videos like what I'm doing right now. In fact, right now you are seeing me through the Viltrox 13mm f1.4 lens. So yeah, this is the real world test and usage. So let me know in a comment down below, how does it look? At first, I thought the focal length is great for video application, especially for vlogs, talking head video, because it is ultra wide. It's enabling me to include many things in the frame, but it's not too wide where things starts to look distorted and then you start to have some perspective issues. So I thought this is a flexible focal length. Now for video, I have no complaints about using the Viltrox 13mm f1.4. It really serves its purpose, but after using it only for video for a while, I started to get curious. What if I use the Viltrox 13mm for photography? So I spent the last few days going out on the field trying to take some pictures with the Viltrox 13mm f1.4 as my only lens, and today I want to share my thoughts and experience, sort of my review of the Viltrox 13mm f1.4 for photography. Now allow me to go over the basic specification of the Viltrox 13mm f1.4. First of all, my version is the E-mount version, so this is for your Sony E-mount cameras, specifically the ones with APS-C sensors, such as the Sony a6700 or my Sony ZV-E10 or the newer ZV-E10 Mark II. Next, focal length 13mm. Again, this is ultra wide, but not too wide. You can still include so many things in the frame, but there's no excessive distortion or stretchy looking images. Again, this is perfect for vlogging and then also for A-roll talking head video like what I'm doing right now. And then for photography, again, this is perfect for landscape photography, scenery, and then also for environmental portrait. If you are curious enough, you can use this even for product photography and for street photography. I haven't used this lens for street photography yet, but I don't see why not. And then aperture. f1.4. It is unusually large for an ultra wide angle lens. So yes, together the focal length and the large f1.4 aperture makes it a really nice compelling package for people looking for an ultra wide angle lens with large aperture. With the large aperture, again, you get more background blur as what you can see right now. And then also you have the ability to use this lens in lower light condition. Now, the Viltrox 13mm f1.4 is meant to be a budget lens from a third-party manufacturer. And budget lens usually means manual focus only. But on the Viltrox, it actually has autofocus, and that blew my mind because at this price point with autofocus, wow, everything starts to become convenient and easier and quicker for me to shoot, whether it's video or photography. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about construction and build quality of the Viltrox 13mm lens. First, build quality, right away I can say that it is fantastic. It has all metal construction. Everything feels solid, everything feels rugged, hefty, and it also feels assuring when you use it on the field. There's, however, no weather sealing with this lens, so you have to be careful when using it during rain or snow. And then, speaking about construction, this lens has a dedicated aperture ring. I think that is very nice because you can quickly change aperture without having to go into the menu or the settings of the camera. However, with the Sony version, the aperture ring is actually stepless. I think they did that purposefully to make it easier for video, because with the stepless aperture, you don't get that sound effect when you are changing the aperture. However, the Fuji version has the stepped version. I much prefer to have the tactility of the stepped version, to be honest with you. Other than that, this lens also has 67mm filter thread, so if you want to attach your ND filters or circular polarizer, you can do that. And then the lens also comes with included lens hood. That's really nice. And then there's a USB-C port at the bottom of the lens. I think that is for updating the firmware with this lens. I haven't actually used it personally, but I think it's good to know that it's there. Maybe in the future they can improve the speed of the autofocus or something like that. One thing that really surprised me the most about this lens is the price. Considering that it has great build quality, nice 13mm focal length, large aperture of f1.4 and autofocus, it is priced modestly at around $500. Wow, it is really great. It's a miracle, to be honest with you guys. But all of that is worthless if the image quality is actually not good. So now let's talk a little bit about image quality. Now, while I'm talking about the image quality of the Viltrox 13mm, allow me to share some sample pictures taken using this lens, and hopefully they can speak for themselves. But setting the lens wide open at f1.4, I think the performance of this lens is already very good, acceptable for my own tolerance level. There could be slight lack of contrast and slight lack of sharpness. That is perfectly normal and to be expected with such large aperture. However, if you want maximum performance in terms of image quality, you can stop it down to f2, f2.8 or f4 to get the perfect amount of sharpness and contrast. And I think when it comes to image quality, this lens really delivers. There's no sign of offending vignetting or distortion or stretchy looking image at all settings of this lens, so that is good to know. And then when it comes to ghosting and flaring, flares are present from my experience, but it is very well controlled and fairly tolerable. Ghosting is very minimal when you're shooting backlight. I think it won't cause any significant amount of purple cast on your photo or video. Now, after using this lens for a few months and more intensely these last few days for photography, I want to share things that I really like from this lens. And it's the combination of the focal length, the large aperture of f1.4 and the autofocus. I think all of these three things together in one package is really something that I appreciate. Again, the focal length 13mm, I think this is a nice ultra wide focal length that is wide but not too wide. Again, it opens up lots of possibilities for different kinds of photography, especially for landscape photography, and then also for vlogging and talking head video with minimal distortion but still being able to include so many things on the frame is really appreciated. Large f1.4 aperture, again, that's the reason why I bought this lens. I wanna increase a little bit the production of my video by adding a little bit more background blur, and I think it did its job perfectly. And then also for photography, I was able to take some lower light landscape shot using the f1.4 aperture. I can see using this lens for Aurora Borealis, for Northern Light photography, for Milky Way, maybe this lens can do it. We'll see. I will follow up in the future video. And then the autofocus, again, I'm not expecting such a lens with a great price of under 500 US dollars to feature a nice autofocus that works well in both single autofocus and continuous autofocus on my Sony ZV-E10. It's just very convenient to have autofocus. I used manual focus lens in the past, and even though ultra wide angle manual focus isn't really that difficult, using autofocus really makes everything quicker and easier and more convenient for me. Now let me be objective and share the things that I don't like from this lens as well. And there are a couple, I just have to be honest with you. First of all, again, I'm using the Sony E-mount version of the Viltrox 13mm lens, and the aperture ring is stepless and it is way too loose in my opinions. I'm always worried about setting my aperture manually because it's very easy to accidentally turn the aperture ring. So that's one thing that I don't like from this lens. And then another, although the build quality of the Viltrox 13mm is perfect in my opinion, again, it feels very assuring when you use it on the field. It is very hefty, it is very rugged, but it is a big and heavy lens, and I don't think I'd like to use this lens for travel because, you know, it really eats a lot of weight and space inside of my personal item bag. Now, in conclusion, is the lens worth it? And the answer is a very big yes. Wow, good job Viltrox. I didn't expect this lens to be this good at all. I mean, this lens performs really well. Using this lens for both getting a nice background blur and lower light photography with this ultra wide focal length is actually a joy. Again, I want to emphasize the things that I already mentioned on many of my videos. Sometimes it isn't just about getting the perfect picture. It is also about the process of photography, the journey. And then when it comes to the process of taking pictures, having a fun, inspiring tool, for example, a nice camera or a nice lens, can really motivate you to further immerse yourself in the beautiful process of taking pictures. And this lens, although at first I don't think this is a fun lens to use, when I use it after a few weeks intensely for a few days, I can finally say that this is a fun lens to use. I had a lot of great time using this lens on the field taking pictures, and I just really enjoy my photography time with the Viltrox 13mm f1.4. So for people who are looking for an ultra wide angle lens with large aperture and affordable price for their Sony APS-C E-mount cameras or Fujifilm APS-C cameras, I think Viltrox 13mm f1.4 should be considered. I can highly recommend this lens. And that wraps up today's video. So that is all for my thoughts and experience of the Viltrox 13mm f1.4. Hopefully this has been entertaining, informative, inspiring. Now let's have a little bit of a discussion on the comment down below. What is your favorite ultra wide angle lens? Let me know and let's have a little bit of a chat. Also, if you have any question, comment down below as well. I will try my best to answer them. Also, don't forget to support my channel by liking this video, sharing this video, subscribing to my channel down below. And if you want to support my work even further, consider using the affiliate links on the description below. Use the super thanks button to make a small donation to my channel, or purchase my travel photography course ebook called Simplifying Travel Photography, with the link also in the description. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.